Hi there. My name is Lois Threets. I'm a 66-year-old black woman. I was diagnosed with COVID on March 20th, actually March 21st, 2020 this year. Uh, 2 days later, I was hospitalized at Kaiser Permanente South Bay Medical Center uh, from March 24th to April 7th, maybe the 8th. Anyway, I'm telling my story. It took a while for me to tell it, but I'm looking on television and I'm looking at the news and I'm seeing so many situations where blacks and minorities are being treated differently with the medical, dealing with in hospitals and how they're treated medically wise for different situations, not just COVID, but just most situations when we go into ER or when we are admitted into the hospital. So let me tell you my story. Um, I started getting sick around the 12th of March. Started getting, felt a little better for a few days. Went into not emergency care, but urgent care. Saw Dr. Davis. She checked me and she said, I thought it was my asthma as usually. And she checked me out. She gave me a flu shot. She gave me a pneumonia shot, but never gave me a COVID test, which I find unusual, especially during those times. But I'm not faulting her for that. She treated according to what she was listening to, and that was okay with me. But 2 weeks later, I got sick, and I was sick even prior to that, but it had gotten a little better. So anyway, on March 20th, I went into the ER, and when I went into ER, uh, a doctor Shaylin, she saw me, and it might not be her right pronunciation of her name right now because I don't have everything in front of me. But the first ER doctor, very sweet, very much hands on, patient care and bedside manners. They did all kind of X-rays and tests, and she came back. She said, "I'm admitting you because we see some pneumonia, not a whole lot, but it's in your right lung. So we're going to admit you." Okay. When she left, the next doctor came in probably a few hours later because her shift was over with. And she said the same thing. She said, "We are admitting you." And I looked at the x rays again because we see pneumonia in your right lung. So, okay, fine. They gave me the COVID test, but they hadn't gotten the results back yet. So I was in ER all night up until 1:30 that Saturday afternoon on the 21st. That's when they finally got a room ready for me because they said they didn't have any beds available or they were waiting on a bed for me. So they admitted me and I went upstairs on the fourth floor, the 4200 wing, I think it was. But anyway, when I got there and once I got in my bed and the nurse took all my vital signs, had me on oxygen, IVs was hooked up to me, including antibiotics. This doctor came in. Her name was Gilda Vigel, Vigel. She barely touched me. It was like she didn't want to touch me like I was some type of bug or insect that she was trying to get rid of, but she didn't want to put her hands on. So she did like that literally, listened to my heartbeat, touched me, and said, I'm going to send you home to quarantine. I'm sending you home. You can go home and quarantine for 14 days and clean the toilet when you use it. And I'm looking at her and I'm saying, I'm really sick. I hadn't been so sick in my whole entire life. I'm really sick. And I said, look, I'm really not feeling well. And I don't think you need to send me home. She said, well, you'll be okay. Gonna send you home. you quarantine for 14 days and use and clean the toilet when you use it. Now I found that relatively strange because most physicians don't tell you to clean the toilet, like, okay, where is that coming from? But, you know, at the time, I'm too sick to really just argue with her. And usually I'm a pretty good advocate